Welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A little tired.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think that it's par for the course. It's been a long, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
Been really fun.
Yeah.
So and today we have one of those people that I've known for quite some time and
A
great
close
soul.
personal friend, you could say.
Yeah, a close personal friend. And an amazing soul, an amazing man. I'm excited, interesting,
Yeah.
talented,
Yes.
multi-talented.
Multi-talented. It wasn't until I was doing, because I do a lot of research on every guest that we have here. And as I was doing my research, I knew that he had wanted to be a Broadway actor or Broadway singer. And I knew that that was a part of his like early career. I didn't know that he did it for so long. He was in The Lion King.
And when did he do? He sang, I think he was, I don't want to say it, but I do believe he was at the rug company release party because he did a really cool line of rugs for the rug company and he sang there and he's really talented.
Really?
Yeah,
Like that's amazing.
I know.
For me also because I'm an artist. Like I'm a musician and an actor and a writer and everything else that I do. And then to know that he was able to make that transition, I'm really curious to like ask him about what that process looked like because like getting into design, like anytime that I've mentioned to people who have known me for a while that I'm, like started a podcast because I want to learn more about interior design, they're like, that too? Which feels disheartening. But at the same time, it's also like what keeps me. I always need something new that I can learn about. I'm such an excited person about the world around me and different industries. And when I got into this industry from working as a design assistant, I was like, what? I need to know everything. And I get the opportunity to now, which is great. And Adam Hunter, our guest, gave me, he gives me hope, I guess.
Yeah, and he also has a very profound way to look at things. He's very artistic that way.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be. I mean, you know him well, but you're gonna connect with him on a different level.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm gonna listen because I've known him for some time, and I'm just really excited to listen to him.
Yeah.
It's the first time that we're doing something like that together, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
It'll
I think
be very
so.
fun.
How is your
How
how have you
was
been?
my weekend?
Yes, your weekend.
My weekend, I decided that I was going to enjoy Los Angeles to the maximum. And I went on a hike to Griffith Park. The moon was out at 10 a.m.
You went in the morning.
And you could see the moon like really clearly. And it was just absolutely fantastic because I don't know, it made me. It was a little bit sci-fi. The sun, the moon, Griffith Park. So I'm enjoying LA to its maximum. I love this town, and so did that and went to Mother Wolf
Oh,
for
that's
dinner.
right. Yeah.
And really well done. I mean, the design is cool.
Yeah.
It's huge. I was not expecting the size.
It is really big in
Yeah.
there.
I was
Because it
completely
used to be a
surprised.
bank, I guess, or something like that.
I don't remember. She said I can't remember, but yeah,
We'll look it up.
we'll look it up. But in the neighborhood, it's like it was on Saturday night, and it was just mayhem. But it was
Yeah.
fun. It was a bunch of people going out and felt alive, and dinner was great. Pasta was excellent. So
That area, there are so many like bars and nightclubs in that area right now.
yeah, I was surprised.
A bunch of rooftops and like that intersection of, what is it, like Wilcox and Selma.
Yeah.
It's so crazy on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And parking is insane.
Yeah.
Almost impossible.
Almost
Like
impossible.
you have no choice what to valet. And I haven't been over there. The last time I was at Mother Wolf was about 2 years ago. Somewhere about
Just
2 years
opened.
ago. When it had just opened, yeah. And walking inside, I was just blown away. It was so beautiful. I love the colors that they chose in there.
Yeah.
And how they're like, it seems like there's so many details. Like they didn't leave out a detail of anything. You can look at the ceiling and just the way that the light fixtures are placed and all of the molding and how the colors are chosen so specifically. I really liked that about the place.
Chandeliers are cool too. It's a good concept.
Yeah.
And
How did you like the food?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
I need to go back. I think I was
Yeah.
maybe a little. It might have been an off night for me, but it's interesting. I mean, he's a great chef, so
Yeah.
I need to. And then after that, I think that next time I go, I'll plan on going to a nightclub after that.
There are a lot of them
All
around
right,
there.
all right.
I actually went to a really
joke.
cool party recently that was at a bar that was right down the street. It was like on Wilcox. I didn't even know that the place was there. But it's attached. It's like sort of like almost like the back room of Mother Wolf. It's really cool. I went to a really fun party back there, and it was one of those where, sometimes you go to I don't know how much time you spent
Oh yeah.
in nightclubs recently, but people don't dance. Like dancing is not something that really happens, but there are certain places that you can go to where people are just boogieing down on the dance floor, and that's where I want to be. Like I'm not there for any other reason. Like I go there and have my soda water with lime, and I dance, and sometimes I don't even talk to people. Like I just need a place where I can dance in a crowd. It's so fun. And I had that opportunity at this bar. Oh gosh. I think it was the party was called Julian's. It was really cool. I highly recommend it. Next time it happens, I got an invite. I'll let you know.
Please do.
You can come out with me. It's also listen.
And have a soda water too.
Yeah, of course. It's also
And not talk to anybody.
no, you don't have to talk to anyone. I close my eyes on the dance floor all the time. But also my favorite thing about this party is that it's like people that are like no one there is under 30.
Okay.
And that's what I love about it. Because these are people who like know how to have a good time because they've been doing it for a long time. Probably don't party like they used to, but they know how to do it now. And that's what I really like.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait to join.
It's fun.
It was a fun event. I mean, it was a fun experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Mother Wolf is a really cool spot.
What about you?
What did I do this weekend?
Right.
I have no idea. Oh, I do. I went to a birthday party. I used to be, it's so funny because like, I mean, I don't drink and it's been like 8 years or something like that. But I love going out. Like I love it. I have a very like nightlife like vibe. And I used to be sort of a regular at this one bar restaurant. And I would go there every Friday night. And this, keep in mind, never drinking. I think total I've spent maybe $100 over like 8 years at this place. Because I would just get a soda water with lime. Whatever. But I would hang out there every Friday. It was so fun. I would just like put on a cute outfit, go out and mingle. And one of my friends that I met there was having a birthday party and had it there. And I haven't been there in like 2 years. So like a significant night, maybe like a year. And I went back there and had so much fun. And I ran into all my old friends and it was awesome. And but then I still I went to sleep like 2 a.m.
Yeah, which is about the right time for you.
It's
right?
about the right time for me. It's about when I usually go to bed. I mean, keep in mind, I sometimes on like a Saturday night, if I'm at the right place, right party, right people, I can be out until 4 a.m.
It's about when I wake up.
But I did, and like I haven't like gone out like that in a while, like gone out and and like hung out with people. And it wasn't like a dancing time. It was just like a bunch of people standing and everyone else is drinking. And I'm just there with my soda water, just catching up, mingling, talking to everybody, making a ton of new friends. It was so fun. And I miss that social energy. You
Oh,
know?
good.
Yeah. I love that social vibe. But also I love that I can leave it.
Right.
Yeah. I
And it's
love
nice
going
also
home
to
from
be
that.
able to. I tend to enjoy it more now because I enjoy the night, and then I know that I'm gonna get up in the morning and feel good,
Yeah.
and go
Exactly.
on and have a great day. So it adds. Actually, I have more fun now
Oh,
going to
yeah.
those events than I used to before.
Yeah.
Because I guess I knew that the day after I might be a little tired.
I
Now I'm like,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
I'll go until
I was at a
midnight
birthday
one.
party last night until 1 a.m. And I
Yeah,
got
that
here
was
at
sweet.
what, like 9:30?
Yeah,
Bright and fresh.
bright and fresh,
Feeling
looking.
good?
Yeah,
Glowing?
it's on that yoga that you're doing right
It's
now. That's
yoga.
what it is.
Yes, it's a lot. I'm doing so much yoga. I've taken yoga every single day for the last 7 days.
So for another talent of Elyse, she is a yoga instructor
I am a
and a
yoga
good one
instructor.
too.
You
I
did
liked
great in
it.
my class.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, you just like in order to be a great yoga student, all you have to do is show up. Biggest part of it. Try. Trust yourself, trust your body, and listen.
Yeah, and stay even when your body is like just get out,
Yeah,
run, just stay there.
totally.
I mean,
I
I
usually
took some breaks.
Yeah, if you're like listening, I usually coach people through the tough parts, you
Right.
know? Like you don't think that your body can do this and that's okay. Your brain isn't in charge right now.
So
Yeah.
we have in our passions, we have the food, we have the sports, and now we also have the design.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about probably he's probably my favorite designer when I
Yeah.
look at his books. Yeah.
Your biggest influence, would you say?
He's my biggest influence for sure.
Okay.
And that's Jacques Grange. He has several books, and I have this one. And
Okay, I want to pronounce this because you're very French. And you said that really fast and it sounded a little bit like you had a sinus thing going on. So say that again.
so it's Jacques Grange. As
Jacques.
in Jacques, Jake
Jacques.
Grange. Jacques.
Jacques Grange?
Jacques Grange.
I'm just kidding.
On the
Jacques Grange. Okay.
Champs-Élysées.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
So
whoa.
the one thing with him, the design part is fantastic. He's also has done some incredible projects. If you look at the furniture or the objects, it's the attention to detail, and especially he uses quite a bit of vintage and antiques. Every piece has a little bit of an extra plus. He will
Okay.
look for the chair that's a little bit more interesting, and not all of it has big names or some major artists. He's had some incredible collectors. You'll see it, Yves Saint Laurent amongst them, but there's also an eye and a knowledge of quality in there that you don't see everywhere. I mean,
Okay.
there are other designers that have it. It's owned. It's years spent in Paris. It's years spent with the best collectors, the best dealers, and that's what he represents to me. It's just an impeccable taste. So there are a few collectors and in France there were a few collectors like Yves Saint Laurent, like Karl Lagerfeld. They're just at the top of.
Yeah.
That's who he represents to me, and so it's when I look at his images, I'm always in awe of the plus, the object, the lamp, that little thing that he places that no one else would have thought about or would have found. Or so when you go through that, just imagine.
This is so breathtaking. And when was this book made?
This one is the latest, I think. So it's really his latest work. And,
Okay.
I got it not that long ago.
Okay, so it's a lot of his more recent.
More recent, yeah.
This is from 2022. Okay. Yeah, and it's called Recent Work. So
Yeah.
great. I think it's really beautiful because it appears to be very timeless. There are certain parts of it that look like they could have been done in the early 80s. but there's so much variation in everything that he's doing. There are a few different through lines, but for the most part, what I'm seeing is a lot of variety, a broad overall aesthetic.
Right.
That there's not one specific design style, but you can also see that all of these things belong to him.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
one of the
this
few
space.
that can do that. I mean, he's definitely they're well, we'll go over them over the course of the podcast, but this one is probably, my biggest influence for sure.
I can see what you've picked up from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few of these chairs, a few of the angles, the colors, a lot of that looks like something that you would be really into, or it looks like you. I can see that.
It's another level.
Yeah. And he did, you said that he worked with Yves Saint Laurent, correct?
Yeah.
Was that the Tangiers home? Oh, this is loud and stunning. Okay, so I should probably stop just like looking at the book while this is in audio medium. But I am going to dig deep into this. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Speaking of digging deep, should we get to Adam?
We should go and
Yeah.
get to him.
All
I
right.
love him, so let's go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi, welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here today with Adam Hunter, an
Hi.
incredible interior designer. And also, I'm so excited to delve into your history in Broadway too. But we'll get there. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm so glad to be here in this beautiful environment with two of my favorite people.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Hi.
How long have the two of you known each other?
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years. Exactly the number
Okay.
I was going to say. 8 years.
Yep.
And we've gone through many different incarnations of life together. And I love him. He's a good human.
I love it too that you like the first thing that you did when you walked in is you're like, I love the light in here. I love what I'm seeing. And then you just took a tour of all of the furniture.
Yes, I'll always tour
Yeah.
myself around the Kimberly Dunman showroom because
Yeah.
it is spectacular.
It's beautiful.
The
We're so
craftsmanship,
lucky.
the taste, the style, it's always been innovative and edgy and cool and sexy and all the right words.
Yeah. I also love that it's always evolving in here too.
Yes.
There's always something new, something
Yes,
different.
there's always good food too.
Yes. Yeah. We have a really special lunch plan for today.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm so excited.
Just for you.
so I know you personally, right? And I adore you so much. And I know your work based on what I'm seeing on Instagram, what I'm seeing in print also. And I'm curious just how do you describe your own personal style?
You know, it's always evolving, but I always use the word restrained drama
Ooh.
because I am not restrained as a human being, as you well know. And years ago, my psychiatrist said that she thinks all my true self comes out with my interior design, which actually does show a lot of restraint. I was a transitionalist. Now I'm leaning more towards a contemporarian. I just made that word up.
Okay, I like it.
And warm. That's very important. But I do think that rooms should have that people shouldn't be afraid of color and that people should be able to absorb a moment of drama and glamour, which are words that are very shunned by Architectural Digest like interior design. But I think that you have a little sprinkle of those in and it only makes things more amazing. One of my catalyst interior designers who really, really spoke to me was David Collins' studio out of London.
Okay.
And when I walked into the London Hotel in West Hollywood in 2006 or 7, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do this.
Oh, that's amazing. So how long have you been in design? I actually don't.
In some ways, since birth, like
Okay,
all
yeah,
designers
yeah.
come out doing that.
Totally.
My mother was in Architectural Digest for Cheap Chic, it was called. Way to do a garage sale shopping. Like she was one of the best designers for that. Or not, they didn't call her designers, like a decorator who really could do wonderful things with estate sales and house sales. I don't really have that skill. Laurent does. And I just know the most expensive thing. And that's it. No, I'm kidding. And
You do have good taste.
I do have, that's always
good
is a thing with all of us. They say we can always pick out the most expensive thing. But my neighbor was Holly Hunt growing
Oh,
up.
wow.
Yes. So my mother would call me in 7th grade and ask me to bring a friend home from school because she would set her stuff out every quarter and we would pick it up and put it in our station wagon and take it home. True story. I told Holly that a couple times and she laughed. And her aesthetic is very important to me as well. I think for that reason, because literally I was 11, 12 years old and getting that sort of her spacing, her transition. Like, so it was very important to me. But no, I was redoing my rooms and always, and I had an internship when I was 15 that I didn't do because I was going to New York. And then when I was in New York on Broadway, I would take all the stars to the flea markets, which was really fun on 22nd Street. So before the matinees, we would go and so I always felt it like it was a part of me.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
answer. When I officially started with Kate Somerville in 2008. Yeah.
So before then, though, you touched on the Broadway thing, and I'm really curious about what that looked like, and I'm gonna preface this with a bit of a personal story.
Yes.
As you
Good.
know about me, I am a multi hyphenate in every part of
Yes,
the word.
you are.
There are many different areas of my art and expression that I feel like I need to tap into. When I'm overwhelmed with feelings, I write something, whether it's like a song or like
That's a
prose or
true
whatever.
artist, a true creative.
Yeah, when I have something that's bubbling up, it needs to come out somewhere. And so, as an artist, also who's a multi-hyphenate artist, since you've done a handful of
Thank
different
you.
things,
I'll take that as a compliment.
as a performer and as someone who's expressing themselves very publicly, and you do it now through your art. I'm really curious, first, what it looked like when you were on Broadway and how that felt for you, and then what it felt like to make that transition, whether that was something that was challenging for you, or if you felt like you were losing something, or if you felt like you were gaining so much more.
Before I go back, I'll start at only a few years ago when I did a concert for all my it was a wonderful show. Probably my favorite thing I've ever done. It was for all my clients and my Broadway friends.
Oh, wow.
I brought them together. And the show was humorously called Listening to Your Decorator Sing Show Tunes in His Mother's Living Room because that's literally what it was. But it was about the idea that this, to your point, they all come from the same place. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter whether it's belting out a show tune or admiring a beautiful piece of furniture like we're sitting on. It all comes from that same artistic point of view, like you as a multi-hyphenate probably understand. Now back to the original question. I don't know that I feel like I fully have made that transition. I think I'm sort of always feel like both. It was tumultuous at points. I think the Broadway community is incredibly welcoming. I mean, we're the craziest, most fucked up, dramatic, but warm, fabulous, enthusiastic, kind. There's so many things, talk about a hyphenate, that go into the Broadway community that is very different from the interior design community. Although I've reconciled that and become much better, and I have wonderful friends in the community, now I found it to be extremely closed, not welcoming.
Oh, interesting.
People kept things close to the chest. Again, this was 15 years ago, so it was a real sharp adjustment to me. And I think that I sort of understand it now. There is sort of a snobbery and a privacy and an elusiveness that comes with being an interior designer. I don't think I'm very good at that part. And I know plenty of designers and maybe even editors and things who would use that as a ding against me. And what I'm trying to do throughout my work now as a human being who's just turned 50 is accept that that is a superpower and that that is something that makes me special. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The transition came when I moved out here to do a TV show called Ugly Betty in 2005.
Oh, no way.
6. Yeah, I had a really great role on that. Oh my gosh, it was a great role. I was Vanessa Williams' new minion, and I was going to marry Michael Urie, who's the character.
I remember that.
Yes, it was like a whole thing. And then there was a writer's strike. And we just had a writer's strike. but people seem to have forgotten that writer's strike of 2006 and 7. It was equally as decimating. We
Yeah.
were all out. So I had left Lion King, my Broadway show, to come and do a TV show, and it was canceled, and I had to figure out what else to do. And somehow I was introduced to Kate Somerville, who was the skin health guru to the stars, and she had a beautiful salon that was formerly Johnny Depp's office that we were taking over. I didn't really realize the crown that was being bestowed to me at the time because I didn't feel like I was an interior designer. I was just helping someone out.
Yeah.
But that first salon was shot for Vogue and Time Magazine, Luxury Index, and Neiman Marcus catalog, besides New York Times Architectural Digest and all the big magazines. And I rode her press. It was her press, to be clear. But because the design was so good, it put me squarely ahead of many other people who are my wonderful peers who and I started at the same time.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that elevated me straight to being able to go into the Brentwood Palisades Malibu residential home because they would come to Kate Somerville
Yeah.
and they would say, who designed this? So I did get a bit of a cheat. But it's, lucky. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, when you get your foot in the door,
The foot went in the door before I identified as an interior designer.
Yeah.
So my friends would say to me, oh, this is your new path. This is your calling. And I was like, serving entitled rich people is my calling. I really don't think that that's what I want to do, is decorate their houses and fluff their pillows. And they were like, no, this is your Tony Award. This is what you want to do. This
Yeah.
is your thing. And of course, I definitely feel that way now. I feel like it's a wonderful honor.
So you said that your mom was sort of a like thrifty kind of
She was also a
designer,
Broadway
decorator.
girl, Broadway woman.
Really?
Yeah, so that's why I've been in therapy so long. Like Mother, Like Son is actually a name of one of our cabarets that we do together.
That's amazing.
Well, the singing, the thing
Yeah.
I told you with my clients, she was in that too.
Okay,
Like she's
okay. The
actually
mother's living
she's actually
in it.
stunningly amazing. She's 85 now. So
Yes.
when we did that,
So when you grew up, how did you imagine an interior designer like of the caliber that you're at now? Like what would be your mental judgments of that? Of like how would you see where you are now from where you came from?
what a cool question. I guess I'd think it was fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had never heard of an interior designer. We grew up in a beautiful home in a beautiful area in Winnetka, Illinois. But my mom was the interior designer decorator. So,
You're from Winnetka?
yeah.
Oh no way.
Do you know that area?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a great story, and this is the first time I've told this. We plan on this being a huge editorial moment, but I was home in Winnetka after 25 years, and the home that I grew up in, which is a 1939 beautiful English cottage, and I knocked on the door to show my friends who were with me, my home that we hadn't seen in 25 years, and now I'm the new interior designer of that home.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh, that
such
is
a dream.
fantastic.
So you can go home again. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a dream.
We have our kickoff call next week. And that home was the basis of my interior design. Everything
Yeah.
that evolved from my brain as an interior designer started in that home.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot, but it still looks exactly the same on the outside. And I'm excited. So that is like going home again.
I love that so much.
Yeah, but I was privileged to be from there. I love North Shore homes. They're a trend that no one really does in Los Angeles. I mean, not trend, that's the wrong word. You know how there's a Hampton-style home and a Cedar Shake home and a mid-century modern home. I feel like people don't do the North Shore of Chicago homes a lot because they're very much based on English cottages and they're beautiful. So I always have transcribed that look to my projects here.
Okay.
So when people say, oh, it's sort of a Hamptons home, I'm like, no, it's actually based on a home in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I grew up near Lake Geneva,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
the up
I did know
north
that.
for people in Chicago.
That's where we would go
Yeah.
for summers.
Yeah, and the house that I grew up in, it's still standing, but the people who moved into it after my parents moved out trashed it, and I loved that
Go
home.
and redo it.
This is giving me so much inspiration.
Yeah, actually.
Because there are certain things about a home that I absolutely love that I pay very close attention to because of my home that I grew up in. It was in 1927. It was just like a sweet little 2-story house on a double lot. It was absolutely stunning. And my mom, like, I remember she hated it because she was always like, it was always falling, like things were breaking or things
Yeah.
were cracking or whatever. But When you walked through the house, you knew where everyone was because of the sound of the floors. I could
Yes.
tell what step someone was on.
I
going
know
up
that
the
too.
stairs.
That's
Yeah,
great.
from the sound of the stairs.
That just shows what an attention that I probably all three of us paid to the homes that we grew up in. I find that that's sort of a common denominator for anyone in the design industry, whether you're a fabricator, a showroom, a designer, you know what I mean? Like it was so, those details were so prescient to us.
Yeah, I care so much about doorknobs.
I get it.
We had like the doorknobs in our house were so heavy, and
Mine
they
too.
were I believe that they were brass at one point. They were fully black, but they had this like little texture that went around, like these little dots that went around the handle. And anytime that you grab it, like I can still imagine, like in my mind, I can imagine what it feels like to grab those handles. The sound of the doors were heavy, and they were solid wood. And so there are so many things about that I find so valuable and beautiful.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of times in some of the homes that I've seen, that I've been to, that are like newer builds, that those things aren't really paid attention to as like being in an old house that had
Yeah.
so much character, so much love, so much story to it. So sort of going off of that though, with the house that you grew up in and like what you're going to do with it now, are there certain elements of it that you have to, like, you need to save that like feel really valuable to you?
The den that I came out in at 16 years old, and that I had so many important memories, good and bad, in that room. I don't know. It's also a beautiful room with special paneling and a room that you wouldn't screw with. And it's very small, so that one's going to stay. They've changed a lot of stuff. They changed a lot of stuff. So so many, the rooms that are familiar are the same hardware, the same screws, and the same nails. And then the rooms that are not are you know, it's the power of design, right? It doesn't even feel like my home at points. And I think that probably is good to have that bit of a barrier. So I have something that is not trying to make it the way I would have made it when I was 15. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to do it as an adult, well-educated interior designer. So I come to it with a lot of thought.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. I like that idea of like the things that you would have done to it when you were like 15, like the ideas. that you
Right.
had
Like
then.
all those things that are still
Yeah.
there. They're all circling.
Yeah.
They're probably dated, but they're still pretty good.
Are there certain things in your early career that you really loved, or that you were really like excited to put into a space, whether it's a piece of furniture or a color or a texture, that now you look back on and you're like, ooh, I would never do that again?
Those are great questions. Kate Somerville was very Regency.
Okay.
And the designer definitely started it off that way. So they were about 10%, 15% into the job. Like wallpapers had been selected. So I had to go with what was done. And but it was called the White Room, so there was no color. So we took that Hollywood Regency look with the carved Louis chairs and all that, but instead of being gold, they were all creams and whites, and that's actually quite beautiful. I still stand by that design. But Regency I wouldn't do,
Okay.
but I think it's super cool. These are really great questions. I think you have to be very careful with color. One thing I think I do very well, and you know that's not something I normally say, so I must mean it, is designating color.
Okay.
I think I'm really good with that. I think that that's a very tricky thing to do. You're either a maximalist with color, someone like Miles Red and wonderful interior designers who are more is more with color. Oh, I think a brilliant colorist is Jamie Drake. Oh my gosh, I think he's brilliant in New York City. My color is different. I sort of leave it for a dining room or a powder room, but I really punch it. Like it might be this vibrant, beautiful rust apricot looking, lacquer moment, but I like everything else to be pretty restrained. So I'm like searching through all of my projects. Modern Barn, I did before that was a real style. That was in 2015 in Nashville on a beautiful 400-acre property that took 3 years to build. But no one had really done Modern Barn yet. And of course, now it's gotten down to the spec homes, so everyone's doing Modern Barn. That was a trend. I don't know that I would want to repeat that. Innovating. Right now, I'm obsessed with the movie Dune 2 in my entire apartment. is going to townhouse is going to be Dune 2 inspired, which is sort of concrete and cashmere, I'm calling it. And my new favorite term, which is monk chic, which I just trademarked.
Oh, nice.
Yes, which is a different kind of urban zen.
Yeah.
It's a little more spiritual and a more tactile.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I'm really obsessed with that. In fact, my new book that's coming out for Rizzoli is going to have that on the cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
When you say that, the first thing that I think of is I don't know how big you are into fashion and the Met Gala.
It's
the
everything.
core of everything.
It's the core of everything.
Tyla's dress at the Met Gala.
Oh, you'll have to show me.
It was sand. So she was wearing like it
Oh, it was
skin
insane.
tight
Yeah.
sand. She couldn't walk.
That's a
in
very
it.
good visual.
They needed to like pick her up and carry her.
Yes.
She's also like this big, so
Yeah.
it was easy to do. But
That was magnificent.
oh my gosh,
yes.
it was magnificent. It was so beautiful. So when you're talking about that like Dune 2 sort of,
Do you know what I mean? They had
Like
it. Did
the
you ever see the film? Did you
concrete
ever see
and-
the film?
I didn't. No, I didn't see it, but I
I
like.
think that it has this almost industrial, like this, like almost like what I'm wearing, tribal,
Yes. Yeah.
industrial, lots of metals, but also super otherworldly without using any color, which is a challenge for me. So I'm going to
Okay.
basically do my version of no color. That will never be like a beige, boring thing. So it'll be something else. And that's where the tactile things come in, I think. All the things that I want the place to have a feeling. I don't want it to look designed. I want it to feel designed.
yeah.
And I'm really in that moment in my life. My new tattoo, Trust the Process. I'm really trying to incorporate energetic moments into what I'm doing. I'm doing a furniture line that has words incorporated into it. It's all about, I have a new beautiful fixture that I'm making, which is actually my stars, like from a spiritual astrologer, and I'm making them into a beautiful light. I sound very woo-woo. I was the most
I love it.
non-woo-woo person in the world, I think, as being in someone who is in recovery, which I'm quite proud of. It has opened that door and made me even want to be more involved with how your home elevates your serotonin and your well-being,
Yes.
as opposed to what furniture brand you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's a gorgeous luxury top-of-the-line brand like Kimberly Denman by Laurent.
Where I'm going to make sure that I give it a feel. I'm not a woo-woo. Woo-woo. All my furniture that
Yes.
comes out of my
Start
workshop for you.
woo-wooing.
I'm telling you, there's something to it. I just think it's a psychological thing. It's like intention and manifesting. We're in a very mindful culture right now, but I don't believe it's at all gotten near interior design. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to do.
Do you feel that in design trends, like as something becomes really popular and everyone starts doing it, that it loses a lot of its soul?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast. Like how overfluting are all of we?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, again, all designers, not just me, all designers are doing things way before the trend. So I'm going to say that all designers were doing fluting before this started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But now I can't even look at it.
Yeah.
And fat furniture, round for like bubbly. You know what I mean? Like there are these trends, and because of Instagram, and I'm gonna screen my thought. It has become very. They happen quickly,
Yes.
hard and fast.
Yeah.
Like Modern Barn started somewhere maybe 2013 and 14, and we're just getting over it 10 years later.
Yeah.
Now I feel like trends are like 1 year. CB2 and West Elm will put them up, and
Yeah.
they've all derived basically from Axel Vervoort. That's where everything comes from, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Literally, you just package it and put it in a different color. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that started a while back, but
Yes.
when you talk about feeling, because that's really interesting, because that's what I thrive for that, because I do, growing up, I'm different than you. It's like furniture was like living. My father's an antique dealer, so we would have a nice piece of furniture for 3 weeks, and then it would be like, oh, that's gone.
Yeah. That's funny.
So the house had to have a feeling. It had to have the feeling of a home. It was not, you couldn't get attached to the furniture. You had to get attached to, the color, the texture. The furniture was transient in that environment. So there was very much of a, it was, for him, it was like a little bit of, I don't know how to describe it, like a sexy feel. But that's what, and that's why I thrive for it too. So it's interesting that you go there because
The feeling.
the feeling.
And a great example of that is a condo I recently finished. I put 3 years into it. I way over invested in it. It is on the cover of a magazine. It is a showroom. Everything down to the hinges are perfect. The tile was imported from Egypt. It's real pyrite that I made into. I mean, like, it was so over designed, but beautiful, and I hated it.
Oof.
It was my prison. And it's weird that something that was so important to me, it's where I lived in COVID. It's reminiscent of loneliness. It's reminiscent of not being where I wanted to be in my life personally. So that became, the house became my partner or my boyfriend. And I put everything I possibly had into it. And the only reason I say it's on the cover of a magazine braggily is because it's sort of ironic that I built a showroom that is perfect and that is featured on the cover of a magazine, and it was my prison. So the idea of this place is to do the opposite. So if that one was all about looking at every element of it, this one is all about the feeling one gets when you see it. And who knows what that'll photograph like? I'm curious, because the other one photographed perfectly.
Yeah.
This one might be a little more interesting without a lot of color, you know?
Yeah, that's really interesting. It also, I want you to talk more about that feeling, because I've had that experience as well, where something that you've put a lot of work into becomes very popular, very successful, but it doesn't feel like it's the part of you that you want to be out there, that you want to show, that you want to display as like, this is how I want to be represented.
That's a trap for interior designers
Yeah.
or anyone with good taste or people who identifies as showrooms, whatever kind of class of people we are, if we're in that field. I use this as a test, and I passed and failed. That's sort of profound for me.
It is
I got to tell my
profound.
mom that one. In the sense that my first apartment, which was featured in Architectural Digest, was the beginning of sort of, it was like French modern meets Disney Tomorrowland, like Disney of the 60s, what the future would look like. And it was really cool, and it was really personal, and I loved it, and it was light and bright. And a lot of things I do, I love the word light and bright, because I just think that light is so important. And Apple has always been a humongous, like, I'm talking when I was 13 years old, Steve Jobs and Apple was an incredible thing for me. The product, the way it felt, the sensory, tactile first, but also now the glass cube stores and the glass stairway, which I am incorporating into a project in Beverly Hills right now, which we have, thank God, an unlimited budget. So it's going to be pretty magnificent. So I like to do light and bright spaces. So I wanted to do the exact opposite. And I wanted to do Tom Ford, smoky, fuck me, sexy, dirty. I had Tom of Finland wallpaper. I wanted it to be really grab your pearls, and people were like, Adam Hunter did this? Ooh, it's so, it's like a club in New York City. And a 70s Coke den. I said a chic 70s Coke den. And I feel like, I achieved all that. And it was exactly not what I wanted.
Oh, no.
So do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I can do light and bright. Now let's see sexy and dark and moody and swarthy. And I think if you look at the photos, you achieve that look. But to your point, it's not where I wanted to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a designer, I wanted to take on a test and an experiment and live in color, which was another thing. I was obsessed with Cersei on Game of Thrones. So my sofa was this color. Everything was rusts and burgundies and colors I never use, and they did photograph beautifully, but they're not ones that I personally want to live in.
Do you think it's an issue? So when you say, because I mean, all of us are, how is it going to photograph? How is it going to look like?
Yes.
Because of, in the world of, do you think that that's becoming too much of?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the opposite of feeling
Right.
is how it will look in a photo.
Yes.
So you're taking it even one step further. If you're in a design and you want it to look a certain way, that's one thing. If you want it to look a certain way in a photo, you're putting all your hopes and dreams in that photo. Trust me, I've done it. And it doesn't matter who's going to see the photo. Even if everyone sees it, it's just going to be for a minute. You have to live there. You have to have your brain charged there. You have to feel your best self. and you're most sexy and you're most elegant and you're smartest and you're brightest and you're happiest. Can you do that if you're trying to create a piece of art that isn't connected to you emotionally? No.
No.
And I think I mean, I hear, as designers, come, it's like, how is that going to photograph? Or, you hear that a lot. And I'm just afraid that that's taking a little bit of the art, away, of like too many spaces designed by that.
A great example is that every restaurant now has a wall that you can take your Instagram picture with your friends, with a saying above it.
Yes.
I was just in a very fine Italian restaurant, and they were there, and at the end we said, will you take a picture? And they were like, oh, go over to the booth. And I was like, no, that's manufactured. That is not where I was in this table with the weird lighting where my hair is sort of whatever. That's real. That's authentic. And we just live in such a world, especially designers, because we live in a Photoshop world where we Photoshop everything. People, rooms, cars, it doesn't matter. It's instinct. It's nothing that we're even trying to do. Like, I will edit a person without even knowing I'm doing it. And people would say I'm judgmental, and perhaps I am, but it's not purposeful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well,
It's instinctual.
I spend a lot of time on Instagram, and
Me too.
I'll admit to that.
Me too.
And Instagram for me is like one of the most dangerous apps because you're seeing the most possibly manufactured version of everything.
It's the highest PR you can get for
Exactly.
everyone.
Exactly. Like even when we post these videos on Instagram.
Hi. Hi, Instagram. I'm Adam Hunter.
I'm going to be sitting down for hours and editing it to make sure that only exactly what I want to say is being said. And especially in Instagram Reels, you get like a short amount of time to show something that is going to be eye-catching, that's going to be better than everything else, that will get the amount of views so that you can build up this like social credit in so people will start to admire your work. And what I've realized through like my own experience, like trying to share my art and share my expression on Instagram, it doesn't, like, the stuff that actually means something, that actually is really good in person, does not translate.
Correct.
But the things that do translate really well are the like just saccharine, like really punchy, over edited, looks perfect.
Which is why everything is now becoming AI and renderings.
Yes.
And my social media director and I are really careful to call out when they're renders.
Yes. Yes.
Really important.
We had another
we don't
guest
want to
on
fool anyone.
Yeah, we had another guest on where we were talking about AI, and I used to make those for
I knew that
designer that I worked for, and I hate it now. I hate it now. But the thing that irks me the most about it, because it can be something that can be really fun to play with, is when a designer does not disclose that it is an AI generated image. And I can think of a couple.
That's a pet peeve. Boy, I'm going to list them right now.
I want to say all their names. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. But I know we're thinking about
yes,
the same.
I know we are.
Mm-hmm. And it like, because I can spot it instantly. I spent so much time looking at those. It's
a cheat, like buying followers. And by the way, I wanted to buy followers in the beginning, 10 years ago when we started. And my social director has a really strong moral core of people. She said, you will get more back to you if it's organic and real. Yeah. And I think the same thing of AI. Yeah. Celebrate the AI or the renderer, or the design who even render it, but it's not real. Don't say it's real.
Don't say that it's, and also if nothing else, if somebody comments, what is the name of this paint color? You say this is an AI generated image.
Correct.
You don't say you can get something just like this at such and such.
Correct.
Because
it's a bait and switch.
Oh my gosh, it's like that broke my heart too. Because the person who did it was a designer that I really looked up to. Anyway, we're gonna step away from that. But I like that you talked about buying followers too, because there was a designer that.
How many did we buy?
Never. No, there was a designer that I had met and like started following on Instagram, and I will like shoot Instagram reels for like events and for things like that. And so I started noticing that they were doing the same thing. I'm like, ooh, what is this video? Like, I wanted to get inspiration. And 5 seconds after the video went up, it had over 1,000 likes on the video. And I was like, this is curious.
Oh, right. You can always tell.
And then you looked at the views.
Everyone knows.
And there were 5 views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I see. I see what's happening.
It's an interesting game. It's an interesting game, but everything in this world today is viewed by likes. Everything.
I hate it.
Politics, anything is viewed by likes.
Yeah. It's soul crushing because they're
Or
not
followers,
even real.
rather followers.
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 Likes and
Followers.
followers, yeah.
Really is what I mean.
But do you think it
But
has
both.
an impact on the design industry? I do, but
Not as much as other industries.
right.
Not as much as other industries. You know, there's Dame Kelly has done a magnificent job of showcasing her beautiful work, but also her elevated couture lifestyle, which isn't real. And I would say that she would say it's not real. This is not an insult to her, but she's walking around in full leather garbs, arranging flowers. And I love it because it's fanciful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. It's
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland. It's otherworldly.
Yeah.
I don't think she's trying to that that's really her life, but it's the life that we want her to have.
Yeah.
And it's magical. And she's created a story and a dynamic. And so not only you get to see the work, but you get this other cinematic part of her, which
I feel like
love.
there are some designers who can do that, and then there are others that really play into the like, I'm just a goofball, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, and then their work is magnificent. And there are a handful of those too that I follow, that I love, because they'll be, you know, just sort of walking through something, they'll like pull up outside of a store, and they're just like, you know, things will fall out of their car.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
love the humanness
Like,
of that
that's-
too. I can't
yeah.
do that.
No.
I have to manicure myself. And I also think that comes
Yeah.
from being in the theater.
Yeah.
We only had headshots. We only presented a certain way. We had audition clothes. So like when I started doing Instagram, and I just think it's amazing the people who can be that rawly vulnerable. Nate and Jeremiah do a great job of both.
Yeah,
they sort of
they
show a
do.
beautiful life, but then also a goofy life.
Yeah.
That's very hard to do, but I think they're in the position to be able to do that. I think when you're still building, it's different. One thing editors have told me are that a lot of the up and coming designers are actually less than 40,000 followers. They like the smaller ones. I'm one of the, I don't know if I'm a medium big, and I never knew if that was good or bad. Also, what we chose to do, which gets back to energy, was champion other designers and be a curator of sorts. So it's not only my own work, but as you know, with an interior designers, we only have 3, if we're lucky, including the biggest interior designers in the world, projects a year that we can showcase. It's $35,000 to shoot our projects. They take 3 years. So they only level in. Sometimes you have 2 to 3 a year. What are you going to put on your Instagram? So we chose years before everyone else was doing this. I think if anything, we were inspired by my friend Kelly Bean, who's an amazing interior designer, an amazing Instagram curator, of using other people's work that inspire you. But what we do on my Instagram, that's Adam Hunter at Instagram. I'm just kidding. Is show our vibe, our vibration. So whether it be modern barn, traditional, Hamptons, future, whatever, it's our vibe. So then potential clients, which is very important for Instagram, for potential clients is important for interior designers, can see, oh, that's the vibe that he would do it as.
Yeah.
And it's also entertaining and interesting and glorious and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. That's kind of my idea for the Clutter Bravado Instagram page.
Yeah.
Because since I'm so new to this, and I'm sort of like developing a taste for things, and like, oh, this is something that I'm really interested in. So we'll be posting, obviously, like reels from interviews and your work. Things that like you're really excited about, some projects that you like, some things that you like, but also I'm going to be putting in some things that I like, because why not? You know, like this is my first sort of tiptoeing into the industry,
Right.
And in that, I'm doing it publicly,
And people will get a sense of your style
Yeah,
from it.
people
They're
get
gonna
a sense
they're
of,
gonna
like,
say
what
she
I
doesn't
like,
like red, or in my
Yeah.
case, I don't really like red.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna see a lot of red from me. Do you know what I mean? But then, so with you'll choose whatever. Yeah, and then
like
it
red.
becomes your. Yeah. I think I really hate red now because of the last couple of years of my life where I was immersed in red in my
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah,
So I associate it. Everything is association,
totally.
right? Even
Totally.
names that you might not like was the guy who beat you up in 7th grade
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, that's funny.
Association.
I've got a couple of names that I don't like for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I want to start getting to a place where we're wrapping up.
Yes. Thank you.
But there are 3 questions that I ask all of our guests, and
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to ask them of you. You can just sort of a lightning round, right? So first, what is the messiest place in your home?
Oh, lightning round. I'm not that messy. I'm not organized.
Okay.
So I can't do anything without, like, if you saw my desk at work,
Okay.
every time I leave, Kaylee has to clean it up. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe
Like if
like
I have a hamper where I would throw I wouldn't let it collect on the floor or anything like that. But when it comes to papers and like the way I see all my staff arrange their desk, it's so like and organized. That's not me.
Okay, so maybe your desk at work is what you're kind of
Yep.
saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair. Second, what is your favorite place either in your own home or in a home that you've designed? Your favorite space?
A pool house in Nashville that we did. It was $1 million pool house. It was all glass and the roof receded. So it was this amazing pitch glass roof that opened like this. And it opened like that because in Superman 1, which was a movie before you were born, do you remember, Laurent, when the little Superman would come out from the planet, it recessed like that. And I always thought that was just such a profound image. So that's the reason that Steve Giannetti and I, the architect, made this really cool. And it is the landing page of my website as well. So I really think that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Ask you a question because I've never noticed that, but it's the second time you mention a movie.
Oh, it's all for me. Everything stems from Wonder Woman for me. Wow. You'll always notice Wonder Woman in my apartments. You'll always, whether it be an acrylic shelf like you have over there, an acrylic shelf like the Invisible Plane, or those beautiful, and you should cut and show those. Those are so Wonder Woman to me because of the bangles and the jewelry. And the
Abigail.
Dune 2. So when I was a kid, I was called Mike TV, which is from Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
Because my sisters were 8 and 10 years older, and I would just sit and watch TV, and I was just immersed. And yeah, many of my visuals come from there. And I know it's not the most highbrow.
it's fantastic.
You know what I mean?
I love the way you do it.
That's amazing.
But I've
My
never-
new rug line for the rug company is going to be based on 2 things, Dune 2 and AI. Because I think not everything has to be based on the wood and the streams and the flowers. Although I've done that collection.
You've done,
and I love it.
The smoke rug was
Well,
fantastic.
yes, yeah, and I do. Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of that. Still,
It was
still sells very well after
fantastic.
9 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank goodness.
One of my favorite homes in a movie. This is so out of left field, and you can just take it as it is. The farmhouse in Signs.
Love it. Can see every moment of it. I can see the
love
shutters. I can see every part of that.
every part of it. The living room, the color story in the living
The
room,
lighting.
and the house in
The
Signs.
lighting.
It's like they.
It's so warm.
It's warm. It's like this warm purple almost, and like this mauve that they're using with also. I mean, I can't like it's like little bits of green, little bits of like a dark cream.
Well, think of
And-
any Nancy
yeah.
Myers film too.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I don't mean to overtalk. I know
Yeah.
you got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But when I was first moved here after Kate Somerville, my first projects was actually my sister's, and it was in House Beautiful. But it was, she wanted it to be based on the movie As Good as It Gets. And As Good as It Gets was the movie in 2007 that everyone wanted Diane Keaton's Hamptons Beach home.
Yes,
Everyone.
everybody.
So what we ended up doing, and we told this in the magazine editorial, was that it was Shutters on the beach and meets As Good as It Gets. So it was both. So it was a little more Southern California
Yeah.
beach with that sort of, it's almost a New Yorky, elegant, slick, sexy vibe, but
Yeah.
warm and traditional. I don't know. I don't know. All those words are a mashup, but yeah. So my point is, Nancy Myers films. I mean, she ended up becoming basically an interior designer after that, and she does many, many homes.
It's there are certain homes
That Anne
and films
Hathaway
that,
movie, The Intern. Do you ever see that?
No.
Oh,
The
it's so
Intern?
good.
Is that with Robert De Niro?
Yeah. And they were in this amazing glass deco place in New York City. And anyway,
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna check
Good
that one
Nancy
out.
Myers movies. Everyone listening should go see them.
Okay, and I have one last question for you. And we kind of already covered this, but I'm going to ask you anyway, just for clarity. So, when you walk into a space, a new space, whether it is a potential client or in a place like this, what is the first thing that you notice?
Color.
Color.
Always. Always. I wonder where that's from. The form is always second. It's like music. I don't listen to lyrics. I can't hear lyrics. I identify as a professional musician and singer still. But I can always sing back the melody in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Same. I'm the same way.
But lyrics, people will mention me lyrics, and I'm like, oh, you mean the one that goes da na 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 na? Not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the same is true of color. And then what would be second? Because that's such a good question. Sheen.
You mentioned light.
Sheen.
When you first came in here, the very first thing that you said was like, look at you guys sitting at the bar in this dark room with like the little natural
Lighting
light
is
coming in.
everything.
Yeah.
And the way the light hits a fabric is so important, like that beautiful sofa in the other room. And I had a leather line for studio art leather, and we did ombre leather, which had never been done at the time. So it actually turns color. And that is an effective light. And I do know where that comes from, and we'll wrap it with this. That comes from the Broadway world, because when you're on a Broadway stage, what's behind you is called the scrim. And the scrim is a giant ombre screen that changes light throughout the day. So it's whether the scene is in the daytime, then it's yellow. If it's at night, it's twilight. So the scrim is always changing. If you think about it, you've seen it in a concert or in a play or in a musical. So ombre has been my calling card for so long, and I slip it into everyone's home, like the Wonder Woman stuff or the Superman stuff. I have weird things that don't sound very classy or highbrow to be like,
Well, through your eyes, they become.
Exactly.
Yes, there's a lens to it. And I
Right.
do think that
So what's next for Adam Hunter? You've mentioned a lot of
things.
A lot of things.
I am the part of a new tech startup that is very design based. That I'm super excited about. That could be a game changer for me. I have a book coming out for Rizzoli that's called Safe Spaces, that I've decided, I was given my own book, but I've decided instead to go around to my inspirations, Tom Ford, different designers. I'd like to ask Kelly to do it too. So we see what their safe space looks like and how that energetically heals them. Similar question to what you asked earlier. A TV show. Currently we're talking to Apple TV, and it's a show very much about what I was saying as well, which is about the intention of how you feel in your home. And my sister is a famous psychiatrist. So the show is like the Property Brothers. We're a brother and sister duo, and we come to the clients, and she comes to your house from a neurochemical point of view of like what your brain map shows when you're in your house, literally. And I come to it from an energetic design point of view, which is sort of feng shui 2.0, which is like everything we've discussed, which is how you feel in your home.
Wow.
So there are a couple things on the burner.
Just like
So
a
we're
couple.
gonna have Adam Hunter on the
We'll
podcast
have
every
you.
other month.
Yeah.
I hope
We'll have
so.
you back
I
on
hope
again,
we
for
have good
sure.
updates coming soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh my
You
God,
are
it's-
such a delight. I adore
Thank
you.
you. I love
Thank you
you
so much
guys.
for joining us today.
I loved being here.
Beautiful. Oh, well, let's have
Love you,
lunch.
Mr. Adam.
Lunch. What'd you say?
Love you, Mr.
Love
Adam
you.
Hunter.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.